We just had the first Trio Cash Cup finals of the season, and now we get to know who the best teams in the world are. We also got to see the spawn fight between Peterbot and Bugha. I'll cover everything that went down there because it got really, really crazy. I also want to talk about why Mongrel and Savage struggled so much over on EU, and what is going on with Mero back on top of the leaderboards as soon as Trios comes back. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. Before we even talk about who won on NA, we have to talk about the big spawn fight. We had Reet, Bugha, and Threats going up against Peterbot, Poyo, and Bolts. Now, this has been a spicy one. Obviously, Bugha was playing with Peterbot a couple weeks ago. They split up. I've covered all of that. So going into this spawn fight, it was a little bit heated. Now, I have to mention, Bugha was going dog pound before Peterbot decided he wanted to go there, and Bugha said he wasn't leaving. So a lot of people kind of telling this storyline like Bugha's chasing Peterbot around the map and griefing him for dropping him. Bugha was going this drop spot first, but nonetheless, going into it, it was heated. Now, game one did not go how anyone expected, myself included. They split the drop. Reed's team didn't have the best drops for top. They dropped around the outside. They went underneath, farmed out all around the vault, took down Snoop Dogg, got vault control, and then both teams just didn't fight. They split, they left. Reed's team went on to play extremely well, whereas Peterbot's team unfortunately went down with 0 points in game one. And after that, we knew it was going to be all-out warfare. Peterbot's team decided to split the POI for whatever reason. I'm still very confused about that, but it didn't work. I'm guessing they thought they were going to pull a good game out of it regardless, even though they were splitting. It didn't work. You know they're going to fight every single other game. And then after that, it went a lot like a lot of people expected. Peterbot's team won game 2, game 3, game 4, and game 5. So at this point now, it's basically a 4-0 off spawn. Bugha's team hasn't taken a single win, and then Reet managed to pull off this.
You have an AR?
Yeah, I got this room. I got a
60 by 60 bottom, 60 bottom.
I need help. You just saved me, bro.
One HP. Dead.
Killed one.
Yeah, hold on. Come here.
One HP. Dead. Kill two.
Oh, I can't. Give me a second, Reet. I don't think we go.
25 blue.
I'm coming, Reet.
22. Dead.
Yeah, you little
Craziest Reet.
Let's see, you're the best. Watch out for third party.
Like, bro, these little... Bro, they just get so lucky, bro. I swear to God,
I mean,
man.
I get the fucking best drop. I get a scoped AR in the chest. Like,
bro,
how?
They can't get lucky so many times, bro. Bro, they're going to learn, bro. They can't get lucky 6 out of 6 every tournament, bro.
Now, as you could hear at the end there, Reet and Bugha weren't feeling too bad about winning one of the spawn fights. They were saying Peterbot was getting lucky, so I'm not sure what this means going forward. I talked about it in my last video. Peterbot has said that he actually plans to go to the Shark once it comes out, which is in about a week's time, but we have another Trio Cash Cup in 2 days. We have 2 Trio Cash Cups a week, and it looks like neither of these teams are landing, so we are going to keep this spawn fight going at the dog pound unless anything changes. I think that last game win there for Reet really bolstered their confidence to keep dropping there against Peterbot. So I'm enjoying the show. I think you guys are as well. I'm not mad about it. We did end up having Peterbot, Poyo, and Bolts finish in 6th place, which is an underperformance by their standards. Basically anything but a win is at this point. And Reet, Bugha, and Threats only having those 2 games, the first game where they split and then the 6th game where they won on spawn, they managed to come 10th overall. So both teams are looking phenomenal as long as they can make it off spawn. So if Peterbot does end up leaving or Bugha ends up leaving, both these teams look great, but it's same story. Whenever you're contested, it's hard to win when you got a team dropping on you 6 games out of 6. Now, let's talk about who did win. It is especially hard to win when Acorn, Kanata, and Mero are putting up numbers like they are. 388.6 matches, 2 wins. They played phenomenal. This means Acorn, Kanata, and Mero won opens and finals. I did say in my video yesterday, I was a bit surprised to see them win opens, but I wasn't going to be surprised to see them dominate finals, but them winning is super interesting. Mero has been very quiet this entire chapter. He won globals at the end of chapter 4, and chapter 5 has been an underperformance by his standards, but he is the most decorated trio player of all time for a reason, and this trio is looking crazy. It's worth mentioning they did have uncontested Steamy and the yacht. It looks a little bit weird to get that much loot, but as long as there's a team going Steamy, you can't really drop the yacht. You're just going to get farmed, especially when you consider the fact that you get the Piao Piao rifle from Steamy, and this thing is an absolute laser. One of the games, just one single game, Kanata did 4,600 damage with that assault rifle. That is just absurd. If you try to land the yacht, you are gonna get farmed. The only way the yacht is really a viable drop right now is if you have teams that are contested at Steamy stacks. They have to focus on each other so you can get to the yacht without just getting beamed out of the sky. They played phenomenally well, and like I said, this does also help a lot with these conversations around, oh, you know, what's gonna happen with Acorn and Kanata? They're both IGLs, you know, they're older players. Where's the crazy fragging power? In a trio, you can be phenomenally good without having a Peterbot, without having a Bolt. You don't have to be able to coordinate a one pump person. It's all about the communication, the vibes, and this trio is playing really, really well. And I don't want them to take that away from Acorn, Kanata, and Mera's Mex. These guys are all crazy in their own rights, but I think it's been really good to prove to people that you're gonna see some crazy trios over the next year, and it's not always about having that IGL fragger combo like we're used to seeing in duos. Now in second place, we almost had them actually win it. Aegis, Ritual, and Cold, 371 points, and they did this while contested at Sweaty Sands. They played phenomenally well, also winning 2 of their 6 matches. It was the last 2 games they managed to pull off huge performances and win them, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. It was a little bit too late. They did get a 2nd, 5th, 4th, 1st, and 9th. So this is a trio who, again, not a lot of people were expecting too much from. Cold, obviously one of the best players in the world right now. People surprised to see him go with Aegis and Ritual. Aegis didn't qualify for globals. Ritual did, but didn't do too crazy hot alongside Reed, at least not to a lot of people's expectations, but this trio is looking disgustingly good. Now, third place needs no introduction. Muzz, Clicks, and Rapid. We almost had the Clicks 4th place curse continue, but he got on the podium. Phenomenal performance from this trio, backing up a lot of people who were confused why they dropped Rise for Rapid. They played amazing. Again, we'll have to see how this trio goes as the weeks continue. Muzz is going to have to go back to OCE in the next couple weeks to renew his visa. I'm interested to see what happens to this trio once Muzz leaves, but them having played only 1 tournament together, opens and finals, and getting top 3 in both of them is really, really good to see. We had another more underrated trio in 4th place, Batman, Bugha, Mason, and Iomzo. They played 6 matches and won 2 of them. They were really, really hot start. They did fizzle out a little bit towards the end, unfortunately. And then in 5th place, Aviv, Cooper, and Rise. So Rise isn't doing too bad with his new trio either. He also was dropping Misty Meadows and had a team with very suspiciously good aim without too many events played. We'll leave it at that, contesting them, so Rise could have done even better if that wasn't the case. It is also worth mentioning we did get the Eminem Grotto update midway between opens and finals this Cash Cup. Randomly at 2 PM ET, the normal downtime for tournaments, Epic Games turned on the Grotto update. It was super buggy, it was super broken. Eminem was there, but he was invulnerable. It was a mess. They ended up fixing it, and obviously it's having a big impact on competitive, having an entire new POI, having the mythic minigun, which, while being hilarious when you shoot it, it does the lyrics of Rap God. It gets really annoying after a while. We actually had Mongrel go down because of this. He was using the minigun, couldn't hear his opponents, ended up getting pre-edited and went down. He wasn't too happy about it. I'll talk about EU in a second, but it's an interesting item. One of the major changes with the update though was the sniper rifles. You now have a 10% chance of getting a bolt action sniper rifle from a chest. There are now gray and green rarity bolt action snipers, and they are everywhere. And yes, even the gray rarity one-shot headshot. So solo Cash Cup is going to be interesting. I'm expecting a lot of people to be very upset on the timeline. If you've got an old controller or an old keyboard and mouse you can play on, maybe might be worth it, because I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of raging with that many snipers in the game. But so far it's cool to see the new content being added very regularly. They added bounce pads and a whole bunch of other changes, and it's honestly really fun to see the meta changing up this often. Now, moving on over to EU, we had some familiar names in first place: Queasy, Chicho, and Teeny. 3 players who have been all over the leaderboards for this chapter, but seeing them at the top together, their first trio tournament together, was really, really exciting. 294 points, 6 matches played, 1 win. They were the kings of high ground, as Queasy always has been. They had a 2nd, 1st, 6th, 13th, 3rd, and 16th. So really, really good placements all around, insanely solid performance. And am I excited to see how this trio goes going forward? No, because they have already split up. Chicho and Teeny have dropped Queasy after winning the first trio Cash Cup with him after he's just come 2nd at Globals. They have picked up instead Chap. So we have Chap and Teeny teeing up again, playing alongside Chicho. I have no idea how Queasy is being dropped in these situations. I always tell you guys, I try not to judge teams looking from the outside in. I don't know what their chemistry is like. I don't know what their vibes are like. Queasy said that Vask, the other professional Fortnite player, is the reason why he got dropped. He got into Chicho and Teeny's ears and convinced them to drop him. I don't know how any of that works. It sounds really messy, but somehow we have the best trio on EU right now, not even making it 5 hours after winning the Cash Cup as a trio. So as for why Chap would want to play with this trio, unfortunately, Chap did really, really poorly. Chap, Glubshy, and Grip A actually ended up coming 25th. They only just earned money. by only a few points. If they had gotten 3 points less, they wouldn't have even made money, which is obviously very below Chap standards. They were contesting dog pound. They went down every single game on spawn except for one. It was a rough tournament. So Chap was obviously keen to get on a better team. A lot of people were actually looking at Vico and Flixie to see if they were going to pick him back up and drop Veno, because unfortunately, there's another team that didn't really do as well as everyone was hoping. They got a 15th place overall, even while being uncontested. Razuru, their coach, took to the timeline to say, look, this wasn't Veno's fault. Everyone is saying they did terrible. Why did you drop Chap? You went from winning to 15th. Veno is awful. They said that's not the case. They had a bunch of issues with crashing. All the players made their mistakes, but they know what they're going to work on. They're sticking together and they'll fix them up for the next tournament, which I'm excited to see. I like when trios don't just split after having one bad performance, or apparently one good performance and winning the Cash Cup. Now, we had the Poles, Seti and Cami back on top of the leaderboards, which I love to see, playing again alongside another Polish player, Hari. I think Seti and Cami not only are locked into playing with each other for the rest of Fortnite, at this point, it looks like they are going to be sticking to Polish trios forever. We had Pix, Blaha, and Demus. Again, another Polish trio in third place. I'm sorry if I pronounced the last guy's name wrong. I have no idea how to speak Polish. Then we had Chino, Della, and Axe Force. Now, this team specifically caused a lot of issues for Mongrel, Savage, and Twy. After such a good performance in Opens, a lot of people really excited to see Mongrel, Twy, and Savage play the finals. They had an uncontested drop. They were going on the houses to like the northwest of Pleasant Park. Unfortunately, it didn't go too well for them. Della's team are disgustingly good fighters. They are super aggressive. They're willing to take fights with anyone to get their surge. And unfortunately, that was on Savage and Mongrel. They would key them every single game. Every time Savage's team tried to rotate past them, they'd get head sniped. They tried to claim more loot around their drop spot. They got W keyed. It was a bit of a nightmare. It led to Mongrel, Savage, and Twy having a really rough performance. They ended up getting 22nd overall, only getting 59 points. So, unfortunately, as is any time when big name teams are struggling, the community gets really triggered. They should be dropping a better drop spot. Why are they going this shambles, terrible drop spot? But then last season, when they were dropping Raft, why are they going this mythic drop? They should drop somewhere safe. They need to drop somewhere more careful. They're never going to win. It was just an unfortunate performance. The one time we got to see them make endgame, they did pretty well. They came 11th overall. Like I said, Mongrel ended up going down because of the minigun. It was a little bit rough, but the vibes were good on this team. I hope they stick together. They showed a lot of potential. It was just a rough drop spot situation. They didn't really have the mid-game fighting power to take down Della, but there's not many teams on EU that do. If you guys want to see how the first solo cash cup of the season plays out, check out my Twitch channel. I'll be live all day watching all the games.